You're running the meeting?
Julie and I are. I don't know if Carol will be there or not.
Why wouldn't she be there? She can do it from Zoom.
I know, honey, but I'm not sure how she's feeling. If she's there, we'll adjust.
Well, I guess what I meant by running the meeting was you're the
I'm going to be the lead, yeah,
moderator or
yeah.
whatever.
And Julie's going to take minutes,
And
but
you're
she
gonna,
hasn't started the meeting yet, so.
and you're gonna record it, so that's even better. You have all the information. I'm taking you don't need this then?
Oh, I was going to leave that in my bag for a while, just in case. I don't think I do because it came on just fine.
You want me to pull the table out a little farther?
I can push it out if I need to. I think I'm okay. Oh, you stinker. That didn't take you very long. Oh, there's Carol. Oops. How are you feeling?
I don't feel as bad as last May,
Well, that's good.
but I don't feel good. So, um, yeah.
Well, we ran into Julie Frost today and she said, Margaret sounds absolutely horrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. Well, she tends to when she gets an upper respiratory anything, she tends to sound like she's dying. So,
Mm. Wendy, I would I want to make a suggestion, even though I can't make a resolution, that in last year's minutes, let me know when you get there.
I'm there.
Okay, on page 4, there's the discussion about becoming a parish again.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, for a while, there was more control from the diocese as we moved on from the conflict we had experienced. Now, but because we have remained on mission for all this time, for some people, there hasn't been closure on this issue. And for some people, the issue remains that the bishop did not fully apologize. That whole paragraph is creating questions for even longtime members who are wondering, well, what conflict and what was the issue with the bishop, and
Yeah.
why hasn't this been taken care of, and etc. And so I'm wondering if a motion could be made that like after Carol is a vicar, not a rector, something that might say discussion followed about becoming a parish again. And I guess sort of strike out the rest of that. The idea there are hoops we need to jump through,
Yeah.
I don't think is very helpful. And the part about we would need to submit an application and the request would need to be submitted for a vote at convention. My recollection is well, the application has a lot of stuff in it, but it goes through diocesan council, it goes through standing committee, and actually it goes through a vote of the convention. So I don't feel like the information is totally accurate. And the thing about for some people, I think that really only means a couple of people.
Okay.
And so I don't think that's helpful, but it's causing other people.
It could be confusing, right? So a recommendation that we strike everything after Carol is a vicar, not a rector,
Right,
up
and then,
until we would need to submit an application and follow.
no, the whole rest of that paragraph, we should get back to where we were. And just say, discussion followed regarding becoming a parish again. Or
Oh, so the whole thing, and then
The whole
just say
thing.
after you, just say discussion, follow. Okay, got it.
discussion followed about,
Without going into it all, because it's too
exactly.
conjectural. Okay.
Yes, and as I said, it's not some people, I think it's just really only 2.
Okay.
And
All right. I can certainly make that recommendation.
okay, I think it might be a resolution, but I'm not sure.
Well, does it have to be a resolution if it's just a correction or a clarification of the minutes?
Yeah, it might not be. You are correct, it might not be. So, good morning, Barb.
Good morning. Sorry I came in a little early.
No.
Quite all
I
right.
haven't Zoomed in a long time. I was worried I'd do it wrong.
No, you're fine.
Some of us do it regularly and still screw it up. So, it's fine. And again, I don't think Facebook was on this morning because it said I was going, and then I think it went to my Facebook account instead of the church Facebook account. So
If you talk to
Julie and I just
Franklin,
said, forget it.
Oh, I don't blame you.
if you talk to Franklin, he can figure out a way.
Show me how to do that? Okay.
Um,
I was happy Zoom came on right away. I was afraid I
morning,
was gonna have to
Julie.
wake you up.
Good morning, Julie.
Good
And
morning.
good morning, Lynn. Julie, I think we should really begin the meeting with some Zoom instructions about
Got it turned on.
how to raise one's hand and
I
how
said
to
I was
stay on mute and things like that.
I have it on.
Julie, do you remember where, oh, it's under reactions? Is that where it is? Yes. No. Yes.
Um,
Okay, it's under reactions. Okay, I remember. Wasn't sure I remembered.
yeah, mine is in a different place, I think. Or maybe the host can't raise their hand.
Good question. Hi, Wash.
Good morning, good morning. I'm having brunch.
Where do you have raising a hand in your?
Along the, well, my icons are all along the bottom, and along wherever your icons are, there's
Yeah.
the reactions. That's like a
Yeah.
smiley face plus.
Yeah, I've got it. Okay.
How you doing, pal?
Well,
He's been better.
I've
Go.
been better, I've been worse, so.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I thought I'd try it again because first time wasn't fun enough.
Both times bad.
Um,
We still have a fair amount of snow.
mm-hmm.
Kind you get stuck in.
It was a little sticky around here this morning too.
Mm.
The ice is gone in the road, but now it's full of potholes.
Morning, Louise. Good morning, Kristen. Morning, Pete. Kristen, you're on mute. Morning, Margaret. Somebody has very staticky.
Yeah,
Someone.
they're trying to phone in.
Oh, okay.
This is Pam.
Well, hi, Pam.
Hi,
Oh,
Pam.
hi.
Are you warm?
Hi. Yes. We're fairly warm. Are you warm?
Yeah, but I'm inside. It's not all that warm outside.
I thought when I joined by phone that I could see people, but I can't see anything. I'm in the car.
Oh, that could be why.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
So
think.
I've never joined it. Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
joined a Zoom meeting by phone before.
When I join by phone, I can see everything, but I've never tried it in the car, so, or at least not when I can remember.
Okay, well, Larry's here, and
Good morning.
Morning.
we're on our way to San Antonio.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna have a fun day in San Antonio, and then go visit an old friend who's in a nursing home up in Bernie, which is northwest of San Antonio, tomorrow. So that's our mission.
it's a good mission.
Is it sunny there also?
Sunny, very sunny. Yes, it's very, very bright.
Nice, nice. Good morning, Andy. Morning, David. Oh, it's 12:01, so now it's good afternoon. There's Deb, Linda.
So Carol, do you think you have enough voice to bring the meeting to?
Yes,
Oh.
I thought I might wait
A few more minutes? Okay.
2 minutes. Good morning, Sandy and Rick
And Linda.
and Grace. I don't know why I'm going like this in front of a screen. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let me ask, just thumbs up, thumbs down. Louise, is David nearby? Okay. Linda, is Jim nearby?
Okay, so there you go.
Just thumbs up.
You're all
or
set now. You can just slide that shut and you won't have video. You're off the video.
Linda Chumney, raise your thumb if you have Jim nearby.
Everyone,
No. Okay.
I will please move.
Pete, is Norma nearby?
Yes, the Amrine is on also.
Okay.
Go.
Rick, I saw they have 2. Is this Sandy Perkins?
Must be. Because the other Sandy's right there.
Right. With a different screen name. Okay. So does anybody know of others who planned to join? Deb?
Deb, you're still on mute.
You're on mute.
Host is not what? Allowing unmute. Okay, which one of you is on host?
Julie and I both are.
So
It's right now.
You want to unmute everybody, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Julie, do you know how to unmute everybody? I know how to allow
You
them
can
to
just go
unmute.
through.
I think if all you do is say allow unmute, I think that should cover it.
I was trying to show you the deer out there.
I can talk now.
Okay. Who
But
did you
some-
think was coming, Deb?
There we go.
I can't even remember. It was so long ago.
Well, if I count participants here, it's 1, 2, 3. Wendy, Len's with you?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I just wanted to say that I was muted. Oh, I wanted to ask who that telephone handset is. Yeah, I guess I don't really need to know as long as you know.
Pam Height.
That's me.
That's it. Yeah, it's Pam and Larry Height.
Oh, okay.
They're on the road.
Again?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3,
It's our theme song.
4,
Yeah.
5. Okay, I'm gonna declare that we have a quorum. And so you should have your packet and should see the agenda on the very top. Fine, but I'd first like to start us out with a prayer. So I am going to mute you all. And then, if I can, or Julie can,
Got it.
I invite you to pray silently as I pray aloud. There are 2 prayers here. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, ruler of all things in heaven and earth, hear our prayers for this parish family. Strengthen the faithful, arouse the careless, and restore the penitent. Grant us all things necessary for our common life, and bring us to be of one heart and mind within your holy church, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel in St. James Episcopal Church, for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Well, welcome to the 2023 annual meeting. I'm having a sense of deja vu back to the COVID pandemic lockdown, but hopefully we will not, well, we are not all in isolation, but hopefully we can have a fruitful meeting here. A couple of Zoom details. Does everyone know how to be muted and then unmute themselves when they're called upon? If yes, would you just give a thumbs up? Okay.
So the host will have to ask them to unmute.
Okay.
And I will keep an eye on people who raise their hands.
Okay. And what I'd like to encourage is that you find your, the part of your Zoom menu that has reactions. It has little emojis, and there's one that says raise hand. And if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that I've raised my hand. What I'd like to suggest is that for people who want to make a comment, that we raise our hands in this fashion, and we'll call on those people first in order in which they've raised their hand, and then we'll call on people who have physically raised their hand, so that we can keep ourselves from talking over each other. And once you've raised your hand, for instance, there should pop up in your reactions a direction to lower hand, which I've just done. Okay, so as I said, if you can't find that, go ahead and raise your hand, but we're going to call on the people whose hands are raised first to keep some order in the Zoom meeting. Okay, I'm gonna turn, well, in a minute, I'm gonna turn the meeting over to Julie. We do need the appointment of a secretary for this meeting, and we'll take self-nominations or nominations of others.
So actually, Wendy and I agreed in advance that Wendy's going to lead and I'm going to take minutes.
Okay.
So Wendy, I'm going to unmute you here in just a second.
Okay.
Terrific. So Wendy, as I understand it, the first order of business then is to consider what were the 2023
Right.
meeting minutes.
So you should have received the meeting minutes from last year. And I have one comment if no one else has anything they'd like to say about them. Margaret?
Let me get her, yeah.
I told Julie, but I will just repeat it for everyone else to hear. The reason that we did not pay the pension for Catherine Twining was not because she quit. It was because she would not fill out the paperwork.
Oh.
We would have been happy to pay her pension, but we could not without her doing the paperwork.
I remember reading that. Oh,
So
here it
you
is.
would like that added as a clarification in the minutes?
Can we just add it as a clarification?
I have added it to the
Okay.
minutes. Or made that correction. I've made the correction.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I didn't catch that one, Julie or Margaret. Thank you. The one that I would like to recommend is under becoming a parish again. A lot of the discussion that we had is listed there, but I don't think that it is really clear to someone who wasn't there what was going on in that discussion. So I'd like to make a recommendation that after Carol is a vicar, not a rector, we strike everything and just say discussion of the pros and cons of becoming a parish ensued. Something to that effect. Just because I think it gets into things that aren't really clear. And I think to make it clear and unmuddied would make it more than we need to put down. So I would like to make that recommendation. I don't know that we need to make a resolution, but you guys need to tell me it's okay. Deb? You have to unmute, Deb.
Let me get her.
Deb, Julie will unmute
There,
you.
there we go.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it when I just now tried to look at it, so pardon me if I'm being redundant, but wouldn't it be a good idea to, in one or two sentences, say most people were opposed, most people were neutral, most people were in favor, you know, whatever.
Okay, so then what if we said discussions of the pros and cons of becoming parish ensued? The recommendation was made that we form a committee to pursue this. Would that
Sounds
be
good.
satisfactory?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
My concern, Deb, around that sentence about some were, some weren't, is that it doesn't really reflect the proportionality of who some are. My conversations with folks is that the some who the people who for some the proportionality of some who this has remained an issue and want and for that reason want to become a parish is a very but more vocal minority in the congregation. There is also some people who don't care. There are some people who don't know what we're talking about. And there are some people who are satisfied with the status we have. So I think we need to be either, I think Wendy's remark about perhaps a committee that represents all the positions about, I don't know, something like that, rather than saying some and many, a few. Again,
but the minutes need to report for posterity what was done. So if somebody 25 years from now looking back to say, did we ever apply for parish status or discuss it? We'll never know if we just leave it out of the minutes. I think it just needs to say it was brought up, it was discussed, it was decided to form a committee. That's the end of it. Because we did pursue it. So
yeah,
that should be reflected.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
We will make that change. So Jerry has his hand up.
Didn't we ultimately conclude that because we were not making a complete diocesan pledge and or seeking other financial assistance, we weren't able to do so?
Yes,
that is correct. That?
Yes. Yes,
well,
Jerry.
So we do we put those in the minutes though? I mean, that gets reflected later in the warden's report.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right, Jerry. It was. So are there any other corrections that anybody can, or clarifications? Deb's up again. Deb, you have to unmute.
I've got to invite anybody who raises their hand. So who's raising their hand?
Deb.
Okay.
Okay, this is very, very difficult. Anyway, all the things that happened in the year following our annual meeting are going to be reflected in the minutes of whatever of this meeting. The fact that we didn't pay, or in the Bishops Committee records, we didn't pay our proportion completely, therefore we weren't able to proceed with pursuing becoming a parish. You know, that's what happened. And so that's all. you know, we want the records to reflect what happened. And yes, Jerry is correct that, although I'm not sure that we actually got told by did we actually get told by the diocese that we couldn't proceed? Okay. I couldn't remember whether they said you probably shouldn't or you can't, so.
Okay, then, moving on, we need, delegates for the annual convention, which is
We
held
need to
October.
approve the minutes.
Oh, do we have to approve them? Okay, sorry. I thought we could take care of that, sorry. Okay. Do we have to have a motion then if we're gonna approve it?
Yes.
Okay, Kristen, are you motioning? Kristen is motioning to approve the minutes. Margaret is seconding it. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Thank you. That better, Jules?
That's good.
Okay. All right. Now, we need delegates for the convention. And I know Mother Carol had suggested that before, that if anybody had questions, they ask John Oberg or Deb Wilson or Len or myself about what it's like to go to convention. And I think Jerry might have been before too. Not sure. It might have been a while. But I know it takes out an entire day, sometimes a day and a half, but it's really a relatively easy commitment. And it is the weekend of October 2021, usually the Michigan State game, just so you know if that's a problem. So I would take volunteers for that position, those positions. We would prefer 3 and maybe even an alternate. Yeah, but it's not, as Carol posted, it's not usually during the game.
I would, each congregation is allowed 3 delegates. So if we were to send a full delegation, we're looking for 3 delegates. And then if we're even able, we would like to have alternates in case the first line or a member of the first line can't serve.
No. Oh, Wash, Wash wants to talk, Julie.
Okay.
Just a minute, Wash.
Now, you'll have to unmute yourself after she gives you permission, Wash. There you go. Yeah.
You're on.
I just wanted to say that Michigan State women's basketball defeated handily U of M women's basketball yesterday.
Oh, come on.
I should have kept you muted.
For that, yes, you should have kept her muted.
I have divided loyalties, but
that might be considered out of order, but
well, in reference to the football game, which
are there volunteers to be our diocesan convention delegates? We meet at the Novi Showcase.
Usually, yeah.
Usually, the congregation pays for your meals. There are usually workshops that happen on Friday afternoon, which you are not required to attend. There is a banquet on Friday evening, and then Saturday morning is really the business of the convention. And we're usually finished by 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it gives you a chance to interact with our neighboring and maybe more far-flung sister congregations to find out what's happening in the diocese and to hear the bishop's address about her vision for the diocese. And also occasionally we have guest preachers who come from other dioceses. The most remarkable one I heard was from the Bishop of Atlanta, who gave a barn burner of a sermon a few years ago. So it's an opportunity as well as a responsibility if you're chosen, and hopefully you might think of it that way. Deb, are you volunteering? If so,
No, she wants to unmute, I think.
So I gave everyone permission to unmute themselves. We'll see how that goes.
It worked. Yeah, I just want to say, it's always something that I really enjoy doing, and it's difficult for me to drive in on Saturday morning, so I prefer to go on Friday. That means that the hotel room is about $100. So if another woman would like to be a delegate and we could share the room, that would help. And if not, I'll just see what I can do. So that's all. But it really makes you know what it is to be an Episcopalian. You see all these other congregations, some of whom have great ideas on what they're doing, and it just, it's interesting.
and if you needed to assistance with, excuse me, the congregation will pay for a hotel room for you.
Yeah, I know that, but I feel, well, that's down the line. We have
No,
to think about that.
Deb, I'm just saying that for everybody's benefit.
Oh, okay. All right. But I will volunteer if needed.
And I will volunteer also, but it would be nice to have someone else.
Maybe one of the people who hasn't had a chance to go to a diocesan convention.
I'll be there.
Who said that? Oh, you, Carol?
Carol did.
Yeah. and they have souvenir tables so you can spend money.
And there's usually free chocolate because the bishop is very big on that.
Use lots of candy, yes.
It was actually an enjoyable opportunity when I went.
Yeah. And I will say the bishop tries to contact every single.
Creeping up.
Oh.
Yeah, Carol's frozen, I think.
She'll unfreeze in a minute. Well, while Carol is frozen and thinking, we have two.
There they are.
Okay, we have two people who would volunteer. If that's okay, we can go with those two, and then we can always add somebody later.
Well, I was seeing Sandy and Rick's hands creeping up.
You were?
I was.
Oh, she's shaking her head no. Wow.
Shannon?
Shannon right now looks like a deer in headlights.
Well, I'm
So
wondering if she's frozen also.
no, she's not frozen. She's
Shannon, you're muted.
I would consider it. The only thing is that toward the end of the day, I have a lot of head pain with my condition. And I would have to probably do like an overnight thing or something like Deb was talking about if I was to do it. I'd have to line up whether my mom was able to take care of the dogs while I was gone.
Well, let's do this then. If you're willing, we'll just put you down, and worst case scenario, you back out later.
I think it'd be a fun experience. I would think it would be a wonderful time to connect with other congregations and to brainstorm and to have a good time.
You would enjoy
So
it.
yeah, I really nothing against it. It just is kind of like getting my ducks in a row. I wasn't really thinking about it, but could be good. I have an open mind.
Okay.
So could we have one person volunteer as an alternate?
I can do that. And I wanted to add that it's not Michigan State football weekend.
It isn't.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
they play October 26th.
Ah.
So it's a free weekend?
Well, free from the big game.
Okay. I mean, we're not playing Ohio State or something.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have a full slate. Hearing, we didn't have to vote on that, right? Because it was all volunteers. Okay.
Correct.
Then we can move on. We need nominations for the Bishops Committee. I would like to turn this over to you, Julie, since you have the nominations, even though I'm basically one of the outgoing.
Okay, so our nominations are Pam Height, Sandy Riley, and Jackie Schock. And they have all agreed to serve. And we need at least 3 people. So we're very grateful to those 3 folks for volunteering to serve. And then, but we can have more people on the Bishops Committee. So I think at this point, we'll take other nominations from the floor or self-nominations if anybody's interested in serving. Seeing none. I don't see any. Wendy, do you see any?
No, I don't.
Okay, so seeing none, I don't know if I can move approval of these 3 candidates.
Can I move approval since I'm leaving the Bishops
So
Committee?
moved.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, Wendy, Jerry, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, I will be contacting, for those of you who have agreed to serve, I will be contacting you shortly by email so we can, along with the other folks in the committee, to set up a time to meet in February. So thank you.
Okay, and also thank you to Barnaby, who keep the family in your prayers. His brother-in-law died yesterday or this morning, that we've been praying for. So they are on their way to Georgia. And thank you, Pete and Wash, for your service too. So.
And you too.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, me too. You're welcome. Next up is Margaret. Are you a voice that you can do the treasurer's report, or oh no, Carol, you had.
Sandy and Rick have their hand up.
Oh, sorry. It blended into their cupboards.
I was just wondering who's on the committee besides the 3 new nominees.
Julie and Deb.
And David Volker.
Oh, and David. Yes. Sorry, David. Our lone male.
Well, Rick wanted to serve, but couldn't have a married couple on.
Oh, well, you could cede to him.
I don't think that will work.
Yeah, I saw that look. Okay. All right, then Margaret, do you think you're up for it?
Yes, probably not for long-term talking, but I don't know if anybody looked at the financial statements kind of the big news for the year is that our $64,000 deficit, we ended up at about $21,000 instead of the budgeted 64,000. So that was really good. We did end up paying all of our apportionment, just since that was brought up. I thought I'd say that. We still have operating funds available to fund our continual deficits of about 150,000. I don't have a lot to say about the balance sheet or the treasurer's report, and the special projects fund report is there because it's just interesting to see where money has come in and out of that fund during the year. It's a very active fund considering it's not part of our operating fund. And it was originally set up so that if we were gathering money in, for instance, for the backpack program or the Christmas presents or any of that stuff, we could keep that money, keep track of that money separately, both income and expense. So that's the kind of thing that's in there. So that report is there for you to look at. The budget, I think you all have had a chance to see in the last couple of weeks. Our projected deficit is very hard to guess at since we have no idea what's going to be happening in terms of the vicar's salary category, which is the largest single portion of our budget. We're looking better than we did last year, but not good. So I am open for questions.
Thank you, Margaret.
And I'm very happy that Lynn has volunteered to take over as treasurer.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Lynn.
her training is going to start in earnest at the end of January when we're doing the new year.
Yes, yes. Thank you,
Thank
Margaret,
you,
for your
Lynn.
service, and Lynn for jumping in with both feet.
Looks like Jerry has a question or a comment. Jerry?
I just want to thank Margaret for years and years and years of wonderful service as our treasurer.
Yes. Here, here.
You're welcome.
I do have a question, Margaret. It's come up, I've heard it from a couple of people, and so I'll convey it is, there was quite a bit that ended up as expenses in the flowers, which suggests that we just haven't been able to collect enough donations for every week. Is that right?
Last year, there were at Pentecost and at Easter, and I can't remember if there was a third one. Mother Carol put out a call for extra funding.
Maybe?
Yeah, but we ended up spending $1,700 more than the extra money that came in. And we just need to pay a little more attention to what we're spending there. I think that we don't always have somebody sponsoring every week, but not $1,700 worth.
Thank you.
Okay. And I know there's been some concern about the suggestion that Norma offered that she had heard from some of us that maybe we should think about raising the donation amount because the flowers weren't as full as people wanted. Robin thinks she has a couple of solutions for that. $50 seems a little steep for most people. And I know Mother Carol mentioned that last week or the week before, that if you can't give that, give something, give 15, 25, whatever. And it'll hopefully will wash in the long run.
I did not reflect any increased price for flowers or receipts for flowers because this whole thing came up after the budget was done. So that's not in there, but hopefully they will offset each other.
That would be nice.
Let's say that I have noticed the difference in the flowers these last couple of weeks. They have been quite beautiful, because we've been paying the $50. But Bishops Committee will talk about that at their February meeting. If anybody has any thoughts about that, we'd appreciate hearing them. If not right now, just email one of your or talk to one of your Bishops Committee members, because we'll be talking about that and making a decision.
Julie, I will just say that if we actually pay $50 for flowers, we are going to have to buy new vases because that many dollars will not fit in our vases. And I looked it
I
up.
think they did find. I think Robin did find a solution to that, but we'll verify that.
The cost for the new vases would be close to $1,500 for 2 new brass vases, and they were ugly.
Well, then we don't want to go that route. Deb has a.
We have those large brass vases that look like shell casings. And so we could use them if it doesn't fit in one of the other ones.
Yeah, but that's we can, and we can definitely make recommendations or whatever for BC to consider on that, or for Alter Guild if they want to do it, but they didn't seem to want to do it either. So, all right. Any other questions for Margaret for the report? Okay. All right then, thank you for that. Director's report. Mother Carol, I know that came out. Any comments you wish to make or any questions for Mother Carol?
The only comment I would make is that, God willing, I will share with you a sort of end of my ministry here at St. James report, that not for the annual minutes or whatever, but just a sort of extended see you soon letter. So you'll have one more long letter from me, probably at the end of next week. Wash?
You mentioned something about you're going to add the library and the free pantry. Will that be another addendum at some point?
Yes. What I plan to do, maybe it'll happen today, is write about, for this report, yes, write about that we started the Little Free Library in active operation this year with Lisa Volker as our steward of it. And as I've mentioned before, when I look out the window from the library, I frequently see people using the Little Free Library. So that's very gratifying. And the garden has done marvelously this first year. And Sandy Riley has agreed, along with Rick, to steward the garden during the spring and summertime. So we're thankful for that. And then we have the Little Free Pantry that's ready to go into action. We have Wash to thank for that and for giving us a lot of information about that. And Lynn Slager and Gary Kelly have offered to steward that offering to the community. So we still need to get our sort of guidelines in place for that, but I imagine you all will by spring have that up and going. So yes, that will, basically I've just said what will be in that part of the report. Is there anything about that I have missed?
No, but thank you very much to David and for all of his work putting them up, and to Lisa for manning it so far, and to Lynn and Gary for the future.
I'll make one comment and then to Wash. If you are really interested in how this has come to be, look at a book called The Turquoise Table. And this book talks about how a family in a neighborhood developed a whole, wait a minute, I've lost myself. Developed a whole neighborhood community by putting a turquoise picnic table in their front yard. And so that explains why we have a turquoise table and a turquoise chair and turquoise pantries. And I have dogs that are getting mild. So what I noticed is that the turquoise is attracting attention. So.
Any other questions for Mother Carol? Okay, hearing none. Julie wrote the report for she and I. Any questions that anyone has for us? Or anything you wish to add, Julie, to make sure to make sure that they remember we did?
Maybe I'll do this now, Wendy, if that's okay. So the one thing I just did want to comment on was obviously most recently we've been focused on the transition process for Mother Carol's retirement, and we will try to keep in close communication with you all as that progresses. We were told pretty clearly by Ellen Ekevag from the diocese that we don't want to rush the start of the process. We need to move through this transition period while Mother Carol is still here, and as we both mourn and celebrate her leaving. So we will not be forming a search committee until after she leaves. If you are interested in serving on the committee, please let me know. We've received some inquiries and interest from some people already, so that's fantastic. In the meantime, we do have supply priests lined up through Easter, and including Ash Wednesday, Maundy Thursday, and Good Friday. And let's see what else. Ellen Ekevag is from the diocese is looking for an interim rector for us. The Bishops' Committee completed some information that she needed to help in her search, so that's ongoing. But I really don't know anything more than that in terms of who all is available. It could be part-time, might be full-time. We'll just have to see who's available. So that's where things stand at the moment. Does anybody have any, like Wendy said, anybody have any questions about the warden's report or this transition process? Cool. So, Deb?
I just wanted to pass along, and maybe it's in your report, but that Ellen emphasized several times the fact that it's not like we're trying to pick the best interim or eventually the best full-time person or replacement person out of this huge pool of available people, that there are very few people who are available to do this for us. So, that's why it's one reason why we don't know, and we can't just say, oh, we want this as the person, or we want that, or we don't want this kind of thing. We have to somewhat, welcome whatever we're able to get, I think.
And that's true for the interim. For the permanent, related to that, Ellen did say, you don't have to take the first person who comes along, or the only person who comes along, or whatever. It may take a while, but you take as long as you need to find the person that you want, that is the good fit for us. So we will do that. But, in the meantime, this is an opportunity. Carol has been telling us it's an opportunity to reflect back on where we've been and what we've accomplished over the last 10 years, and to think about where we want to go now that we're in this particular position. And it's an opportunity to rethink the way we do things, or what our priorities are. And we'll be going through this process as a church. So while it's very sad that Mother Carol is leaving for having been here so long, we have to think of it as an opportunity to look forward and to really do some strategic planning and think about where we want to go and go on that journey together. All right, that's good for the rectors, or excuse me, for the wardens.
So Janet Tornow, for those of you who didn't notice in the, just asked the question, where in any of the reports is the cookie walk? And she is absolutely correct. There's nowhere in the reports other than Carol's. What, honey? Carol mentioned it in her report, so it is there. But I realized there's really none of us, we just kind of did the cookie walk. We didn't make it an official thing. So we could certainly add it someplace. So Janet, if you want to shoot a message to Julie, and we can add it somewhere other than Carol's report.
I will be sure to add it on my tracking sheet for next year to ask for someone to include that.
Okay, because it was wonderful to bring it back. I know it was a lot of work, but we totally appreciate everything Janet and Norma and Sandy and Rick and everybody else. Margaret and Robin were not going to bake, and they did anyway, and it was great. Thank you very much. It was a lot of work, but it was kind of fun too. So anyway.
And it raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would only perhaps add for this year, on page, I think it's 3 of my report, so at the top, I talk about the cookie walk returned.
Right.
But Janet, if you folks, what I don't have, maybe Margaret has, is sort of the numbers in terms of how much money was raised. And that could be an addendum to this year's report. And I doubt if we know how many pounds were raised, but were baked. But anyway, I think that would be a fun little detail. Just as a side note, John Goodall at St. Clair's, who's the musician, did a count of how many notes he would have played over the course of a year as their organist pianist. We don't know, we don't need to go to that level of detail, but but we could put in a couple of figures if we have them.
I will get that information to Julie. I don't have it at home.
And also, Sandy Perkins very wisely pointed out that we are starting up Coffee and Conversations again. We will have our first event on March 8th. So I'm just going to throw that in there. So we'll have to add that back to our tracking as well.
Will do.
Okay. And the rest of the committee reports are there. Is there anything anyone has thought of that they didn't add to those, or they need to add to those reports, or any questions you have for anybody on those reports? Okay, well, hearing none, thank you again to everybody for all of the work you do. A lot of what happens in the church, nobody seems to notice, or they notice, but they don't know who's doing it. So I guess that's a good thing in a lot of ways, because if things are happening and you just know that they're there, then that's a good thing. But if you ever wonder how something happens or why it happens, just ask, because somebody will probably be able to point you in the right direction or find out for you who's doing something that you might want to help with. So keep that in mind. And along with helping, we have the Alton Steinaway Award.
Wendy?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
I'm sorry, can I put in a word that's a follow-up? From last year, we reported that we had been given a gift of $50,000 in memory of Mort Cox. And last year, we didn't know what we were going to do with this money. But I just want to report that I've talked with Mary Sue Cox several times and her daughter, and their preference for where the money goes is that we buy a new small communion kit, portable communion kit that will be used to take the Eucharist to members who are shut-ins. So currently we have Julia Shea and Jack Eddington who request communion be brought to them. And Kathy Sandmeyer and Wendy are both trained as Eucharistic visitors. So that will be part of the money used. One other sort of small purchase out of 50,000 is going to be a handbell. And you recall that at All Saints, we chime a bell when we remember each name of those who have gone before us. And at other times when we're mourning the death of various people, when we've had special services, like after some of these school shootings and Pulse nightclub shooting and whatnot. So that will be another purchase. And then they would like the bulk of it to go into our endowment fund that has right now about $23,000 in it, I think, Margaret. Yeah, roughly. So that would take that endowment fund, I believe, over about $60,000. And the idea of an endowment is that of the interest that you earn that year, you put a portion of it back into the endowment to continue growing the endowment, and then you use a portion of it for some specified expense. Many people do it towards their operating fund or towards a music program or towards outreach, or you can designate. But hang on just a second, Margaret. But it is a shout out to Julie and Lowry and Julie Frost, and I'm not sure who else went to the diocesan meeting about starting a legacy foundation. But I do want to make an appeal to you all to consider leaving some portion of your estate to St. James in your wills, so that your legacy continues on in the church even after you die. So for instance, in my will, I have a certain percentage of my will or of my assets that will be designated to go probably to the diocese. It doesn't have to be a huge amount, but it's a way to continue to, in a sense, participate in the church from heaven, and is also helpful to keep the church financially stable. So I encourage you to think about that. We have materials that can help you with that. Margaret?
I just wanted to clarify that our current endowment fund was composed of endowments that were intended to help pay for the salary of the clergy, and all of the income that is paid out comes into the operating fund, but it's an investment fund, so the value of it grows over time and the growth stays in the fund. So the income comes out, the growth stays in.
Okay.
So do we take money out of that every year to pay the clergy? Or I don't understand.
We receive dividends every quarter, and it goes into the interest income, which is in the operating fund, and the operating fund is what pays the clergy. Is that clear? Yeah.
So it may be, if this fund is going to grow by like 60,000 or by 40,000 some dollars in this next year, that the congregation, the bishops committee might want to reassess how they divvy up where the endowment interest goes, or something along those lines, or relook at how that money is spent.
Okay. Wash, were you gonna say something or? No, okay. All right, any other questions, comments about that? Then back to Alton Steinway. Alton was a lifetime member of St. James. He's the father of Grace Brand and was just an icon. Wonderful guy. He was the usher for 8 o'clock. There was no other. And he's just was really wonderful. So almost every year we have given an award in his memory, because he never really, he didn't ask for acknowledgement. He didn't ask for anybody to recognize what he'd done. And after he died, Grace and Mother Carol got together and said, he really didn't ever toot his own horn. So we started this memory, this award. And we've given it to almost every year to someone who's basically done the same thing, who's always been active or really worked hard to keep the parish going and not asked for any memory, and not asked to be memorialized in any way. Well, this year we decided that it's time that Grace and Jerry receive that award. Grace has always been there when we need something done. Jerry's helped with a lot of things, and it's only appropriate that she gets Alton's award. So. And you're on mute, Grace, which may be a good thing.
That is so nice. Oh my God. I'm so thank you. That is a real honor for me, because my dad was so amazing. He's so amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yep.
Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.
On that note,
God.
Sorry.
Can I ask, Grace, tell us what it, I feel like an Oscar interviewer. Tell us a little bit more about what that means for you.
Oh my gosh, Carol. To be compared to my dad and honored with my dad's award is a real gift to me, because he was, to be able to be considered like him is a real big honor to me. And I like to do things. I don't like to get noticed for them, and that's just the way I was raised, I guess. But so to be named in this award makes me feel amazing. I don't know. I'm in company with, look who I'm in company with: Wendy, Len, Janet Cook. I mean, it goes on and on. The people who have been mentioned before, and what an honor. It's just an honor to me. Something that I would never have expected that. So I'm shocked. Yay. Thank you.
I hope
okay.
it's to say that we notice you all. And one of the things about Alton was, as Wendy said, he never sought
Nope.
affirmation or acknowledgement or the spotlight.
Nope.
And so if you find yourself not in the spotlight, that does not mean that we, some of the leadership, don't notice what you all are up to in terms of your ministry in the church and outside the church. So this is our way, in part, in recognizing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
I really
Yeah,
appreciate
we really
that.
appreciate all that the two of you have done for this church over the years. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. You can see we have to be in separate rooms because COVID, not COVID. I'm trying to keep him.
COVID today.
Yeah.
You're negative today? Oh, good.
Well, that was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh.
All right. Is there anything else for the good of the group? I don't know that we can top that, honestly.
No. As my dad would say, he'd say, good gravy. That's his saying. That's as much, yeah.
We could change it to the Good Gravy Award.
We'll work on that. Then hearing no other, if there's no other comments, Mother Carol, if you would like to bring the meeting to a close, that would be wonderful.
Or what I'm going to encourage us to do right now, this can create a cacophony that God can hear in heaven, is if you're so inclined to unmute yourself, do that or not. But let's close our meeting together with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us
this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our sins. Forgive those who
We
sin
forgive
against us.
those who trespass against us.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power,
and glory,
forever, ever and ever. Amen.
Thank you very much, everyone.
God bless St. James.
Yes.
Yes.
I have to say, I really liked that when everybody said the prayer together, like you could hear individual voices throughout.
Yeah.
Which you don't hear when you're in church. And so you would get I'd hear a glimpse of Shannon, and then I'd hear a glimpse of Grace, and then I heard some Jerry. And anyway, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And all of you who are COVID bearers, get well.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And don't the rest of you get sick.
Don't try.
Blessings on you all.
Yes,
Julie,
blessings.
Back to what you said. This is one of the advantages Zoom has brought us, is that we can experience prayer in a new way.
Yeah.
And in terms of what I was talking about in my report about transformation or originality or whatnot, it sometimes happens unwittingly. So, yeah. Okay. Bless you all today. I hopefully will be out of isolation on Wednesday if I have no symptoms. So I appreciate your prayers for me and for Margaret, Kathy, Katie,
Grace.
Is that
hopefully I'm out tomorrow. Yay.
Okay. Yay. All right. Good. All right.
All right.
Go in peace.
Safe travels, Sandy and Rick. And Julie.
I think Pam already signed off, but Pam and Larry were here, so we're thankful to them for calling in.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Everybody.
Bye.